the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast this morning. Brett and Randy here with you as we get started, and we're glad that you joined us wherever and whenever it is that you join us each and every day here on the Auburn Blitz Podcast and making Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please go out there and do that. It's very important to us. It helps us grow and spread the word. Continue to like our content. We appreciate all of you out there so much. Before we get into a lot, of course, we want to talk about some of our partners that allow us to do this show every day. Sensagreen, for air that's cool and clean, call on Sensagreen. They are the carrier experts here in the state of Alabama, saving you thousands of dollars on a new install. If you're out there looking for that, boy, and I'm telling you, it's so hot right now. If your air goes out, you are looking to get it fixed. So call on Sensagreen if you're having a problem. They'll save you money on your power bill by installing you a new carrier unit as well. Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm located in Birmingham, Alabama, taking you from the pre-construction phase all the way to the finished product. Call on Scout Program Management for your next project. Again, it's so important to have somebody that pays attention and make sure the contractors do exactly what they say they're going to do. Call on Scout Program Management, and they will take care of you. And finally, here to open up the show, Bunkers, a place that all of us love to go. Great food, great atmosphere, interaction. It's too hot to be on the real golf course during the day, so go to Bunkers. And you can play on the simulated bays and get all the drinks and the food and everything you want right there served to you. Take your friends, your family, 50 parking spots right there in downtown Auburn in the parking deck. That's never a problem, and parking sucks in downtown Auburn. Everybody knows that, but not at Bunkers. So check out Bunkers there in Auburn. I hate doing shows where we have to come on and talk about trouble with our team, but this one is a little bit more personal for me and you, Randy, because you and I know Malcolm Simmons very well, and I'll just start by being extremely honest with everybody. And this one was a huge shocker to me. I know it was to you as well, just because we know him and we know the kind of person he is, and we've been around him long enough as from a kid up to know his temperament. And when you know people's personality, you know if they're a hothead or you know if they have that in them. This was completely out of left field for me and completely out of character for Malcolm Simmons. Now, again, I'm not condoning anything, not saying it didn't happen or did happen or whatever. Obviously, something did happen. But if you were telling me to pick somebody that would be a prospect to do something like this, he wouldn't even be on my list. That's how far out of left field this was for me.
Well, it was terrible news. I just give a little background from last night. We had a Future Wildcat event at Benjamin Russell. Malcolm was supposed to attend last night and be one of the ex-players, which, by the way, Brett, Corey Milner was there, and Corey looks great. I'm really cheering for him at UAB this year, but difficult to not see him, but I was trying to put two and two together on what was going on there. And, you sent me a text, and it did come out of left field because you do think you know these kids, and it is real personal to us. And I was looking around because we had over 90 kids out there last night, and I've been around, and you've been around athletes for a long time. We knew Malcolm was special, and I had people starting to tell me that when he was in the 5th, 6th grade. We got a kid over here at Radney that is unbelievable. You got to come see him. I mean, watch him jump, just see some of the things he's going to do. And, I'm going to speculate that out of that crowd of 90-plus kids last night, there's another 5 or 6 that are there, Brett, that you don't know if you're ever going to get a kid to the caliber of Malcolm, but there's some that are just – I say it. This kid right here, I was telling Coach Jay last night, that one's not normal. That one's not normal. And that's the best compliment I can give. Well, Malcolm Simmons is probably the most non-normal one we've had come through Elk City in a very long time from a sheer athleticism standpoint. But I'll back what you were saying. I've said more nice things about him, not about his athleticism, but the way that he carries himself. and always with a smile on his face. I've never seen him be one to throw his helmet down, get up in the grill of another teammate in a really emotional time in a ball game. Really was a leader that you could kind of count on to be even keel and upbeat, in a good mood. So Brett and I are a little bit more emotional than we probably should be on this one. You know, it's kind of difficult to do the job that we're doing right here to talk Auburn athletics and not give a reasonable take on what's going on. But I was kind of thinking that last night as it came across, and just the world we live in right now, man. There's so many of us, and I'll put you and I in there. I don't think that the people that grew up around us or watch what we're doing right now know that we don't help kids. We help a lot of them. Pick these kids up, take these kids home. They're around us a lot. Um, Malcolm was not of my generation of kids that I'm picking up, but there's a lot of them that we are, and carrying around and growing up the exact same way that Malcolm did in Ellick City. And you know, it's not to say that some communities are rougher than others. They're not. I think Ellick City's probably on the better end of that spectrum when you look at all the negative news coming around. But you know, it is disappointing when you see a talent with all these great opportunities and negative things come their way. I hope that the news becomes a little more muted on exactly what went down. I'm not condoning it for him at all. He's 20 years old. You know, I was having this talk with my son on the ride home last night because he was overhearing, like he does a lot of times, minding your conversation. So he probably hears and knows more than he should at 11 years old. But
Yeah.
it is the world that he lives in, and I was explaining to him, you know, he's not a kid anymore, son. You know, when you're 20 years old, the decisions you make at 20, they may not be good ones. And trust me, I'm one that is looking you dead in the face and telling you that I didn't make a whole lot of good decisions at 20. So I'm not saying that that's right or wrong, and I'm not proud of it at all. And I'm sure that you could say the same thing, and all of us are sinners. And but hopefully this is not the end for him. Hopefully it's not as bad as it reads in some
Right.
places. You and I don't know exactly what went down there, and nor would we unless we were there. But I'm hoping for him that there's, you know, light at the end of the tunnel, because you know people make mistakes and you want to see them get second chances on those mistakes, and hopefully you learn from it. Because you know the one thing that we're sitting here right now kind of in limbo on what's going to go on here, you know, it took a lot of people and a lot of effort to get a kid in a position at 20 years old to have an opportunity to have success. And one really bad decision can end all of that. And that's not only for a kid, that's for me and you, Brett.
It's anybody.
If you and I
Anybody.
get on here and I say the wrong thing into this camera this morning, then you know 20 plus years of business ownership and what people think of mine and your business and the way that we carry ourselves can be taken at a moment's time. And so that's for all of us out there. I'll kind of leave it at that. I mean, it was difficult, and but I am hopeful that there is still light at the end of the tunnel, and whatever went down was not as bad as it reads in some regards.
Yeah, you know, I had some people. I had like 50 text messages in 10 minutes after it hit, and you know, I sent it to you a couple hours before it really went out
Yeah.
to everybody, and I just, you know, again, the text flooded in, and you know, as I tried to respond to as many as I could, a lot of people were saying, "Well, this is the NIL era. This is what you get." You know, again, people naturally shift over, and we've heard too many coaches. And again, I don't please anybody out there watching think I'm trying to blame that this situation on NIL. I'm not. I'm bringing up what people are saying and what people are tweeting, and what it's just the mentality of the fans out here right now. Immediately, it's when somebody gets in trouble, it's these kids have too much freedom, they have too much money, they got too much, you know, whatever. And I'll say this: there is a little bit of truth to that, because when you and I were in school and when the players used to be in the player only dorm and the way things work, kids still got in trouble back then. I mean, but more eyeballs, I remember being at Auburn, and when they first said, okay, you don't have to live in Sewell Hall anymore, I remember the coaches going, oh boy, kids can go and get their own place. Now we can't be right there to monitor what they're doing and all that kind of stuff. That was the first step in, oh crap. All right, how are we going to manage 100, 18, 19, and 20-year-old kids? How are we going to do this? It's going to make it more difficult. And then you add the NIL part in and all the stuff that's going on in college athletics. You just add more fuel to the fire. Doesn't mean that more people are getting in trouble versus 25 years ago, but it does give kids that are immature more opportunity to get in trouble. And I'm not saying that NIL had anything to do with this situation, but that is the first place people go now. People have to understand that. That is when in Auburn, look, Auburn's been on a run lately of very good behavior. We said that a few months ago and a few weeks ago even. Said, Georgia has been kind of the brunt of everybody's joke the last few years because they get people in trouble. But
you spoke
Auburn
too soon, Brett.
Well, everybody. Yeah, no kidding. But Auburn had been on a good run. And Auburn had been in a situation. Now you've had 2 players arrested in 8 days. And so how quickly it can change and how quickly you can become irrelevant. And we talked about this yesterday with a good friend of ours that I won't mention his name, but he said the exact same thing to me that you basically just said. In the flash of a fleeting moment in life, you can become the top dog and you can become forgotten about in the snap of the fingers based on a decision that you make. And that's how fragile all of these kids need to understand their future is. And like you said, our future, and anybody out here in the real world that has a business or deals with anything, you can make one wrong decision and ruin, years of hard work and effort. And again, I'm not going to try to speculate, but again, going back to what you and I know about Malcolm, if he reacted to something, that happens to a lot of people. You can be a very docile, laid back person, but somebody can pin you in a corner and make you react maybe, and then out of rage you do something that's rash, and then you step back and go, man, I shouldn't have done that. But at that point in time, it's over, and that's why, crimes are committed in moments of passion and stuff like that that are out of character. Doesn't dismiss that the person's still going to be in trouble, but it does say that, okay, maybe that is not their normal behavior. And that's why you and I are talking about that this morning from a more personal standpoint than maybe some people that are watching and other people that cover Auburn athletics on this particular person. It's because we know him and we have spent a lot of time with him and we've been around him. I could have also come on here just like you and said, yeah, I can see that. I could see where he would do something like that because, like you just said, he could have been a kid that we saw, if a play didn't go right in a game. And you and I've seen that multiple times over 25 years, Randy, calling games. If there's some names that would have popped up on this thing last night, we'd have gone, yep, I could see that. I could see where he did that because we watch their behavior when other people aren't watching them and how they react when things don't go well. And that's what we were talking about yesterday too, is like, how do you react? What's your character when things aren't going right in life and things don't go your way on the field? Well, like you said, Malcolm, it could have been a bad play, and Malcolm just walks off the field and kind of goes over and sets his stuff down. He one that always has had respect for other people and his own property and things like that. So it really is just out of character.
Well, let's go ahead, Brett, and give an update on it. Do you have any update? I mean, we've given our opinions on it, but exactly what went down and what is to transpire, because it's difficult. I'm 1 mile away from where, DJ Barber got arrested right up the road from me here in Dadeville. Well, it was bad enough that Auburn made a quick decision on DJ Barber, and I think it was the next day let him go.
They did.
Is that correct?
They did. Yep.
And, I'm a lot closer to Malcolm, but you and I knew DJ Barber very well.
Yep.
We called his state championship game. He made the game-winning tackle, one of the best tackles I would guess over the 20 or some odd years that you and I've been calling state championship games here. Probably one of the best plays late in a ball game to win a championship that we've seen. So it is a little more personal when it's an in-state kid rather than somebody
Right.
from 5 states over that we happen to go in and get. So I hate it. I hope DJ Barber has light at the end of the tunnel too. He made a very poor choice and a bad decision, and doesn't look like it's going to be at Auburn, but hopefully it's somewhere else when he cleans some things up. But Brett, give an update, or if you know anything here, and I know you probably can't give everything that you know, but give enough for people that are tuning in to at least have an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, yesterday, just to kind of sum up, and it again, I can't share everything I've been told, but because some of it's just not out, and it's not my place to do it. But they're trying to get to the bottom of exactly what happened, and in this situation. But it was a domestic violence call, and when police arrive on a domestic violence call, something has to go down, and I guess the young lady called the police, and they determined that something had happened, so they took him into custody, and they set a $20,000 bond for him to be out. And again, I'm assuming that he's out now. I don't know that. I haven't heard that 100% this morning, but then now you got to go back, and just from conversations I had yesterday, they're going to have to process and see to what level, because this does go down as a Class C felony if this does move forward. So it would definitely be removal from the team if things continue to go down this path. But again, there's still things that have to be derived and figured out in this whole situation. So we'll all know more information probably today, or at least in the next 48 hours regarding this. But again, we just hate it for everybody involved, the victim, and for Malcolm, and whatever else is involved here. We hope they can come to a resolution. And like you said, maybe it is, again, when things initially come out, and mug shots are out there. Unfortunately, in the social media world, you're guilty until proven innocent. Now, I don't care what people say, because in the court of public perception, as soon as somebody sees a mug shot, I mean, oh my God, that he's done. And I'm not saying that that's not the case, and a lot of times it is, but there's also times that things happen that have to be retracted and brought back out. And so, but it's hard to battle the court of public perception. The thing that if Malcolm, let's play hypothetical here, if Malcolm were to be cleared, and they figure out that things weren't what they were, and so-called charges were dropped or something like that, I'm just, again, playing hypothetical. He's got this stain on him now moving forward, period. I mean, you can say, oh, well, charges were dismissed or something like that. Again, the court of public perception, you don't think he's going to travel to an away stadium and somebody's going to have a sign with some kind of meme on it of him doing something? I mean, that's what it is now. And we are, and kids growing up in this world are under a much bigger microscope than you and I were under. I mean, we didn't even have phones, Randy, when you and I were in high school. And we had them, but they were a damn back phone. Now, that thing could pick up from the moon. Now, there wasn't a bad spot. The thing about cell phones now is they suck, because there's dead spots in major highways. I'm like, how do we have dead spots on phones? Those back phones didn't drop a signal. Like, if you tried to tell your parents you had a bag phone and you said, well, I was out of service, they're like, no, you weren't, because you could have been on the moon and not dropped a call there. But the bottom line is, we didn't have video cameras and things at parties and events and things like that. And it's just a different age, man. And, I've raised two kids that one is, like you said, in that age range. He's 21 years old now. And I have another one that is in high school. It's about to be a junior. And I stress to them all the time, when you walk outside these doors, just expect to be on camera. It could be a deer camera in the woods. You think you're out in the woods and you're away from cameras? No. We know things that have happened that people have been caught doing stuff because they were on somebody's property and a deer camera caught them. I mean, you just got to expect that you're going to be on camera. And so if you do something stupid, probably somebody's got it somewhere. And so it is a tougher generation. These kids just like literally have zero room for mistakes, or it's going to be plastered from here to yon. That's it.
So no specifics, no decisions made by Auburn. It's
Not yet.
it's
Not
not
yet.
as clear cut as what we saw with DJ Barber, but it's still up in the air and it's still in a bad spot, dependent on exactly what comes out on what transpired a couple of nights ago.
I'll say this, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't feel like it will end well for Malcolm with Auburn. I mean, just based on this, unless something changes in the narrative of what we're hearing. And that's just me personally. Again, I'm saying, and they may come out today and say he's been cleared and he's on the team and all's well, and that's what I hope and pray for if that's the case. But just with the charges of strangulation and things like that, you're gonna have something's gonna have to come down to prove otherwise, or else I'm sure Auburn will have to part ways with Malcolm, which kills me and you and all of the people that we know that were close to him. And again, a bad mistake can cost you, all the things that you worked so hard for and fought for. And again, I will continue to defend him as a person over time and over long stretches of being around him like you. This is completely out of character for Malcolm Simmons. Now, again, can anybody do something in a moment of rage or in a moment where they're provoked or something like that? Yeah, absolutely. We all can do that. But his nature is a calm, friendly nature, and that's just how we know him. And that's why when I got the call yesterday afternoon, I was blown away. I mean, if you would have said Malcolm did this rather than what they said he did, I'd have been like, okay, yeah, I mean, I can see Malcolm's a little silly. He gets and does some things, and he may do something stupid over here, but if he got caught speeding, and like if somebody would have called and said, well, Malcolm was going 95 in a 40, I mean, I'd have said, okay, I've told him not to speed. I've told him not to. But this was a complete and total shock for us. And, again, thoughts and prayers to everybody involved, and hope there's a resolution one way or the other sooner than later.
Yeah, let's spin over, Brett. Just to kind of close out our podcast, or at least my time with you this morning. Your thoughts on overall communication that came out of media days for Auburn. You and I haven't had a chance to talk about it. Hugh Freeze's statements, and then maybe the talk around Jackson Arnold. I'll let you start on Hugh Freeze's comments.
Yeah, I thought a few things that he said really, I thought is what Auburn fans have been waiting to hear from him, and that's basically, hey. We expect to be in the talk of being in the playoff. We've got a good roster. We've got a good football team, and we're going to win now, and we're not waiting to win. It's not 1 year away or 2 years away. Hugh Freeze has changed his narrative, Randy, from the golf course comment a couple of months ago in Birmingham to where he said, yeah, I know what my expectations are at Auburn. We got to make a bowl game, which rubbed everybody the wrong way, to now where he's pretty much up there in front of everybody at SEC Media Days and goes, hey, we got a roster that can compete with anybody in this league, and we expect to go out and win football games this year. And so that's what you want out of your coach going into year 3. And again, why wouldn't he say that? Because he has done a good job of building this roster, and you are in year 3. And if you don't win, you're probably gone anyway. So why not get up there and then know that you're under pressure and say, yeah, we expect to turn this thing around this year, and we're tired of losing just as much as all of y'all are tired of losing, and we're going to show everybody this year. I thought that was the biggest thing that kind of came out of Hugh Freeze's mouth at Media Days.
I agree. I think that you could tell that he's paying attention to the media. He's got his ear to what the fan base is expecting out of him in year 3, and he has no gray area that he can talk in with the Auburn fan base right now. You know,
Right.
he's had the ability up to this point to go, can everybody look back at what I was left? Is there any argument that I was left probably by the worst head coach that Auburn's had in a couple of generations, and I've had to reclaim this entire football program based off of what was left to me? And most Auburn fans at that time that are reasonable would say, yeah, we're going to give you time. But I don't think you can be, you'd have to have your head in the sand to not know that Auburn fans right now are going, no. We heard you the first couple of years, but you're not going to be heard again.
That's it.
And so I applaud him. You know, he did change course on the communication that he's bringing to the media now. So I appreciated that. And, you know, another thing that I was thinking, just to stay with the head coach and stay with our original topic as we started, man, I feel that being a coach, especially in a situation where they're not at home. I mean, high school's tough enough, Brett, but you get into college and you've got young kids that from time to time making poor decisions. We all like to throw shade at the Georgia program on the issues they've had, but man, let's be real though. What are the coaches supposed to do? You think any of those coaches that spend that much time recruiting a kid for 2 or 3 years in high school and get them there and getting them paid and figuring out how to work through the transfer portal and NIL and all the money situations that go on want to see a kid get in trouble? I mean, you think it's hard on us. Put yourself in their shoes sometimes. That is not shoes that I would want to wear as a coach.
No.
That would be the most frustrating part. And then knowing it, like, you know, I'm sticking with Georgia, but on Kirby Smart, I mean, he knows what everybody's saying. But
Yep.
honestly,
I think
you're
there's-
trying to create a positive culture. You really want positive culture. You don't want to have any issues. You don't want things to happen that are random with players like Malcolm that don't have that as part of their character. I mean,
Right.
there are players that Auburn's had and Alabama's had that when bad things came down the line, you go, well, I mean, what did you expect? I mean, go
Right.
back and look at character issues that he had in high school when he was young, all the way up. But
Right.
so I'm sorry, but I
think
thinking it's difficult.
No, I agree 100% with you on that. I do think this, and some people may think this about Auburn at times in the past, and I think Auburn's had some culture problems in the past. I think the Georgia thing has gotten a lot of traction because they had just one after another, after another,
Yeah.
after another, after another. And it's like, okay, this isn't a happenstance. This isn't a random act. This is starting to become the norm. And so then you start looking at the program and the culture. It doesn't mean that I don't think Kirby Smart understands, hey, we have expectations, we expect our players, but there you start looking over time when you have multiples after, and if Auburn keeps getting players in trouble, you're going to start hearing people go, well, man, this is like the Gene Chizik culture all over again. Because when we had 5, 6, or 7 get in trouble, you can't defend it. You have to say, well, that's a broken culture down there because why are this many players getting in trouble? Now, if you have a one-off and a guy gets in trouble and you go, okay, he made a bad decision. You know, like I said, I bragged on Auburn. Auburn's had a long run since we've had players get in trouble. And unfortunately, we've had a couple here in the last 8 days in the football program alone. And then we had one in basketball that got in trouble. So it's been a rough week. Let's be honest about it. But the Georgia thing, the Georgia rap is because they would get somebody in trouble and then 2 days later be another one. 2 days later be another. It's like, okay, what are they allowing them to do over there? What message is not getting across to their team where they keep repeating and doing these things over and over? So, yes, I agree with you. It still is hard as hell for these coaches to manage. And again,
I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. Which I don't do it for a living, so it's easy for me to sit here and say I don't know how to do it. But I'm around enough young kids that are going home to stay under a roof with parents that I sit around and worry about. In some of the predicaments that I see them in and some of the people that I know they're around.
And I can tell you this as a parent. As a parent, you can raise a child and do the best you can to lead them in the right direction and explain to them. But there's life out here. There's the real world, and even the best of best kids you think can make mistakes and do make mistakes and can be in trouble and do some things. And again, you can't just throw them out with the bathwater. Can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So many people out here are so quick to just write somebody off. They were their biggest fan 24 hours ago. And then once they get in a little bit of trouble or something happens, you talking about cutting bait and running. Oh, I can't believe he did that. And, again, that's just the world we live in. And that's the expectation. You and I had a great conversation yesterday about that. There's a lot of people out here that don't care anything about you unless you can give them something, unless you can do something for them, or they want to be around you because you're in a certain position. If you weren't in them positions, you wouldn't be getting a call. Nobody check on you. Wouldn't care if you were breathing, if you were dead on the side of the road or whatever. I mean, it's just life. And had that conversation with another leader yesterday of a school system. And he said, that's just part of what you do when you go into leadership. When you go into leadership, you just have to understand that people want to step on your or grab hold of your coattails because they think they can get something from you. And once you're out of that position, you may never hear from them ever again. So can't get your feelings hurt, when you're in that position. But going back to Coach Freeze, I do want to get your take on this, but I want to get to a couple of our partners real quick before we move into that. Sure Shot in Alex City, your place for firearms, apparel, and hunting. They sell and trade new and used firearms. Check them out. I've told everybody about getting a safe. And look, if something happens to your valuables and you've been watching this show and you didn't go get a safe, it's on you. Call Sure Shot today. They'll take care of you and they'll make sure you have the things that you need. 256-329-0080. Some things in life are irreplaceable. And so you need them in a safe place. So if you don't even like hunting, go call Sure Shot and get you a safe and have it in your house. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. Oliver Ross, a full-service bartending service. Look, we're working closer and closer to football season, and it's tailgate season. Call on Oliver Ross. They'll come to your tailgate, and they'll handle all the drinks and everything for you, and they'll come in and set it up, and they'll break it down. You don't have to do anything. And then there's some fraternity and sorority parties that are going to be happening. Call on Oliver Ross, fully licensed and trained bartenders that will come to your place and make your event the event that you want it to be. So, again, thanks to all of our partners out there on that. But, Randy, I'm going to go over and they asked, one reporter asked Coach Freeze, why does he think it's going to be different? He said, if you look at last year, and I know we've beat this dead horse, he said we were bad in some key areas. He said, number one, we were the worst in the league in turnovers. Well, we all know if you're turning the football over at the rate Auburn's turning over, you're not going to win many games, and you're definitely not going to beat any good football teams. So Auburn turned the ball over at a rapid pace last year, and they were also terrible in the red zone. They get to the red zone, and they couldn't score a touchdown, and they missed a large number of field goals. And so when you're getting to the red zone and you're not scoring, obviously that's going to lead to you not winning very many football games. So those two things alone, and Auburn never was blown out last year. So it just tells you they did feel like if things had gone a little bit differently in those situations, Auburn could have won 3 or 4 more of those games. We'd be talking about a whole different thing right now. But if Auburn can clean those things up, Randy, and with the roster improvement and this schedule not being very daunting, let's be honest about it, Auburn should be a team that you look at and go, man, that team should win 8-9 games next year.
Well, they got to prove it. And, every year about this time, we probably have close to the same conversation and the same 2-minute soliloquy that you just went through right there.
But I'm just saying those are two very glaring areas where
Auburn. They're two glaring areas that Auburn still got some major question marks in both of those areas. Let me start with 2 of them that I see as question marks. The running game. Look, I hope the ones that are back there in the backfield have immense talent, and we've got someone to take Jarquez Hunter's spot. But they haven't done it yet. And so we're still going off of speculation on how Austin and Jeremiah Cobb and all of these guys that you and I love. I love Jeremiah Cobb in high school. We saw him. I mean, I thought he was explosive, but he hasn't made a major splash yet. So we need that position to be up to the standard of where we feel like we've recruited. And Jackson Arnold's got to be a lot better than he was at Oklahoma. He's got to have a lot more confidence than he had there, because the problems in the red zone a lot of times are a willingness to stick a ball in a slot that others can't, because things tighten up in the red zone. Holes
Enjoy and not again, not to cut you off, but another point was brought up by an Oklahoma reporter there and Jordan Rogers at SC Media Days that Oklahoma had the worst offensive line in the league last year.
Well, and
They gave up.
that's still one of the questions for Auburn going into. Can we create an offensive line that sends 2 or 3 guys to the NFL? We haven't done it in a very long time. Do I think the talent level's there to do that? Sure, man. I mean, I can. The problem as an Auburn fan that
I do
have,
think the talent level on the offensive line is so much better than anything we've had since 2017.
we'll see. I mean,
Well, I mean, that's not speculative. That talent is there. Can they produce together is the question.
yeah, that's
That's
still
the question.
that's still to be seen.
Yeah,
To
absolutely.
be seen. Everybody that we're talking about on this offensive side of the ball is a potential all SEC caliber player that's not won an all SEC award yet.
That's
You got
right.
what I mean?
That's
So,
exactly right. You're
like,
right.
so I mean, it is all speculation up to this point. And so do I think that this coaching staff's put a roster together that can go out there and do those things you're saying? Yeah, but I felt that way before in the last 15 to 20 years, and I've been bitten by feeling that way. So as an Auburn fan, I'll keep saying it. We deserve better than what we've gotten. I think all things are lined up for us to get better than what we have gotten, and I'm going to be there every darn one of these home games with with you and everybody else that goes and spends our hard-earned money and supports this Auburn program as hard as anyone. But at the end of the day, those pieces that haven't proven it yet have got to prove it. And
Yeah.
the
Nobody needs the season to start more than Auburn. I mean,
no.
we've said that a million times. And
And then look the way we started the program today. One of the key pieces on that offensive side of the ball that I had all the confidence in the world in's
not
in
going
limbo on whether he's going to be on the team
Yep.
anymore.
to
So
exactly
look,
right.
I don't think anybody doubts that he was going to get the starting nod there at the slot. And
No, he was going
to have a chance.
I don't want to say past. I don't want to say was. I mean, he currently right now is one of the starters on
So okay, like I mean that would be a major blow that's in limbo right now. So
and again, not looking forward and saying this is going to happen, but if there is a position on that team where somebody could go down or you lose a player, it would be wide receiver, because it is a loaded wide receiver room. And I thought Jackson Arnold came out and talked about Horatio Fields yesterday or day before yesterday, and was like, I think he was getting interviewed by Chris Doering, and he said, "Look, I know Malcolm," and Malcolm's the first one out of his mouth. He said, "I know Malcolm and Cam and Eric Singleton and all these guys are getting praised." But he said, "Don't sleep on Horatio Fields." He said, "Man, this guy's impressive." And so I think Sam Turner, and there's a lot of guys in that wide receiver room that are just, and heck, Randy, we've named off 5 or 6 wide receivers. We ain't even named Perry Thompson yet. And that's the thing. How highly touted was he? I mean, the wide receiver room's in good shape. And again, I hope Malcolm remains. I hope everything works out. That's what our hope is. But if he's not, just talking about this particular wide receiver room, Auburn's got a lot of depth in that room. And yeah, it'll hurt to lose Malcolm if you lose him. 1,000%. He was a starter for a reason, but you do have people that you can plug in. Look, I think the DJ Barber thing could be, from a depth standpoint, be more devastating than if possibly we lose Malcolm, because DJ Barber was going to play. He was going to be in the rotation. I think we've got some good linebackers, but we needed depth there. And DJ Barber was coming along. And like you said, we saw him in high school, and when we knew he committed to Auburn out of Clay Chalkville, you and I were excited about getting DJ Barber. I mean, he was a high 3-star, low 4-star caliber player, and got better last year working and things like that. And in the spring, kind of took a next step, and we felt like he's a definite depth piece there at linebacker. Now he's not a piece anymore. That piece isn't there.
So all of these things go into I'm gonna sit back. I'm not gonna let you do it to me this year. You're not doing it. I'm gonna go ahead and say what you said a month ago, but you do this every year. Um,
I'm just saying the
no.
obvious. I'm
You
not
do.
saying that I'm
You're
not
one of the
predicting.
best.
I'm
You're
not
one of
predicting it. I'm just not. I mean, don't
look.
thank me.
But you're
I'm still Missouri over here. I
that
got to be shown. I got to be shown.
that
I'm just saying
that two minute
that,
soliloquy you just gave is
but
when
it's
it
my job
starts.
to do that.
No, no,
It's
no,
my
no.
job to do
This is
that.
when it starts, though. It starts kind of creeping in with Brett Pritchard. If you're just finding our programming, every year he bleeds orange and blue and maroon, and every year I'll have a talk with him, whether it's the high school side, and I'll bring up a negative. I did it this week, and I said, "Man, we got to clean these things up, or I'm telling you, it's going to be the same story. I don't care how talented you are at these other positions. If you don't get this one position set right, it's
Right.
not going to be pretty." And Brett, every year he's bleeding maroon. He's going to spin it. And, wow, we're going to make this work. We're going to make this work. Okay.
But
Just stick with
it's
it.
the truth. I mean, you
But
like
then
what you're
on the Auburn
saying is
side, it's
true.
the same thing.
Well,
You know,
I think the thing that, and let me sum it up for everybody so we'll know what position we're talking about. It's the line of scrimmage everywhere you look. I mean,
yes.
I had Dable's head coach on with me yesterday on the local show, Chad McKelvey, and he's very excited about his team going into year two. And just sum him up, he's like, "Look, we're going to be a lot better on the lines of scrimmage this year than we were last year, and we picked up where we kind of picking up where we left off with a lot of momentum from last year, where they almost had maybe the upset of the playoffs in the first round against Montgomery Academy, a team that had only lost one game." And Dable had 3 wins going into that first round playoff game, and they led the game about the whole time and kind of ran out of gas at the end. But he feels like their concentration on getting more physical and stuff on the lines of scrimmage is going to help them. It's the same with Ben Russell, same with Auburn. You got to be good up front. If you're not good up front, doesn't matter how good your skilled guys are and all that. Look, Jackson Arnold, and look, I'm hoping that 4 or 5 weeks into the season, we go, boy, Oklahoma's offensive line was pretty crappy, because now this is the Jackson Arnold that we all thought coming out of high school that he could be. And again, I'm not trying to make excuses, but when you look down and Oklahoma's offensive line was the worst in the league in giving up sacks, that's a fact. That's not, hey, we think they might have been bad or they weren't good. They were that bad. So again, I'm not saying that Jackson Arnold's play is all pinned on the poor play of offensive line, because we watched Bo Nix perform behind a shitty offensive line at Auburn and win 9 games. So look, guy can run around, make plays. I watched Bo Nix do it at LSU, made a play I ain't ever seen before. I mean, that dude, if you drew a diagram of how he ran around on that play and ended up throwing that touchdown pass, it'd be like, my God, he ran 220 yards to throw a 30-yard touchdown pass. But again, the facts are the facts. Hopefully, Auburn's offensive line, which you and I have been hearing, could actually be a strength this year of this team, which would be the first time in God knows when you could say Auburn offensive line is actually the anchor point of this team. And if it is, Randy, if it is, then you will have something positive to talk about, I think.
Okay. I'm watching.
I'm just
I'll
saying.
leave it at that. I know
All right, I'm just
you
saying.
always just saying.
I'm just saying, man.
This time of year, you just say.
All right, so let's go to some more partners here. John, if you thought my language was bad saying that word, then I don't really know what to tell you. I mean, you ain't been around me very long and heard much of any of our programming. If you think on a podcast, if I let the S word slip, then I mean, I hope I don't hurt anybody's feelings there. All right, old number one customs. Actually, Jake's coming to my house here in just a little bit, getting ready for this master bath renovation. Should be a fun project. I'm already ready for it to be over, and they ain't even got here yet. So that just kind of tells you where I am with it. But if you need your master bathroom or your kitchen or your outdoor living space redone, or if you're looking at adding something like that, call on Old Number One Customs. Go check them out online, and the Instagram page is awesome. It shows you everything. They just redid a bathroom, man, and it is unbelievable. So I'm expecting Jake to do the exact same thing for me. So no pressure. He posted the picture, so that's what my expectations are. 334-752-6162 and JFA Blue Plumbing. You need filtered water. I don't care what people say, and I don't care. I've had people on here arguing with me about, it's not great to just drink filtered water all the time. Well, okay, that's up to you, man. If you want to go dip a cup in a puddle outside and take you a big swig of some rainwater, just go ahead. But I'd prefer to drink filtered water. And JFA Blue Plumbing can come and install the Home Atlas Water Filter Duo system into your home for $15.99, and every faucet in your house will be clean filtered water. So again, if you prefer swamp water, that's fine. I prefer filtered water. So 844-JFA Blue to get them to come out to your house and install the Home Atlas Water Filter Duo. Yep. Let's get a t-shirt, Brett. I will. I can do that. Michael said, I agree. Auburn will be 9-3, 10-2. War Damn Eagle. I like it, Michael. It's my job.
Hey, Michael,
it's my job on here to get everybody's hopes up.
Michael, you are tuning in to the right podcast. Brett Pritchard, just wait. He's just getting started. Here in the next 3 or 4 weeks, we got a couple of potential Heisman winners. We've got an Outland Trophy winner on the lines of scrimmage, and
Good.
we got a Remington Award winner at center. He is about to spin this thing, and a Bolitnikoff winner out, and Cam Coleman at receiver. It's coming. You're in the right podcast for positivity with Brett Pritchard.
Look, I'm not saying anything other than the potential is there on the offensive line to be good. I don't know how we got this misconstrued that Auburn went 12-0 and is in the playoffs as the number 1 seed. I didn't say that. I said that we actually have the makeup of the talent on the offensive line. Like 2 years ago, if you just said, "Hey man, I think Auburn's offensive line gonna be pretty good," I'm like, I don't know what you looking at.
But I'd have to go back and watch a 12-1 weekday show with you.
I didn't give praise to our offensive line. I didn't
say like July the 28th.
I did not give praise to Auburn's offensive line 2 years ago.
It was probably spinning it was moving in a positive direction.
Look, if we come out in the first 2 weeks and it looks like Swiss cheese up front, I'm just going to say, dude, just throw the darts and do whatever.
Well, this is the reason you get so frustrated.
It is, man.
You do this every year.
We could take the damn Chicago Bears offensive line when Jim McMahon was back there and Walter Payton and all that stuff, and somehow figure out a way to screw it up. So yeah, I can admit when things don't go right, for sure. So appreciate it, Michael. We appreciate all of your comments out there. Tubbs Tiger said, looks like the chances of C. Morgan flipping to Auburn went down. Again, I don't know that this necessarily had any bearing on what Cedarian Morgan is going to do with his future. If Cedarian Morgan flips to Auburn, it'll be because Cedarian Morgan wants to flip to Auburn and feels like that's where he needs to be. Right now, he's committed to Alabama, and I don't see a flip in the future, but I may be wrong. So it just is what it is. So at that point in time, when the ink dries in December, I guess you'll be able to say one way or the other. But I don't think that has a direct bearing one way or the other on whether Cedarian chooses to stay with Alabama or flip to Auburn at some point in time. So, all right, everybody, we appreciate it so much. Again, thanks to all of you out there for watching each and every day, and we'll be back on with you at noon. I think it'll be Andy and Jim today. Today is Thursday, right? My days just mixed together. I don't know what day's what. So Thursday, Jim and Andy will be on at noon, and then we'll be back with you in the morning for another edition of the Auburn Blitz podcast. Again, if you have not subscribed to our channel out there, please do so. Go out there and subscribe to our channel. Hit the like button. It helps us tremendously, and we appreciate all of you that have done that so far. And continue to go out there and help us spread the word. But Randy, hope you have a good day, brother. Hope all of you out there have the best day ever, and a big old War Eagle out there to all of you.